I think the lessons we've learned from the past is, one is communicate this as clearly and early as possible. We laid out the principles of our approach back in 2022, and we've talked about that, I think, very clearly. The process has gone very smoothly, and we've just made an adjustment to that process. But again, everything is moving exactly as expected. We've seen the balance sheet on our securities holdings come down by now over $1.5 trillion without really much of a ripple or in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And so we're just hoping to make sure that continues and watching that carefully.
Should we talk about retail and business spending? Where do you, I mean, we've obviously had a jobs report that was somewhat different from, we had a little bit of a turn there. Do you think spending is going to change as well?
Yeah, my view is, we had 3.1% GDP growth last year, which was a huge surprise to everybody. I think the big driver was the supply side factors we talked about, labor force and productivity. Right now, we're seeing consumers continue to spend. Businesses are investing quite a bit right now. But I think you have to understand it in the context of this supply side, boost that we're getting. So my forecast for growth this year is somewhat slower than we saw the 3% we saw last year, probably something in the 2 to 2.5% GDP growth for this year, but still pretty strong and consistent with an economy that's getting into better balance. And so, a lot of economists would say that the trend growth rate for the U.S. economy is around 2%. So how do I say that, well, 2.25, 2.5 is consistent with that? It's because we're getting this boost from the supply side that allows us to get both the good growth, good consumer spending, good business investment, and at the same time the economy getting back into balance. So my expectation is that we're going to have good growth, somewhat slower than last year. And in consumers, unemployment's low, job growth is strong, real wages are improving. It's not that surprising that they're willing to spend.